In the previous lecture, we've installed and started the IPFS daemon. The IPFS daemon is the component that offers files to IPFS network. There is also a client that requests files from IPFS. If we want to add a file to IPFS, so to share a file in IPFS, we use IPFS add -r and then the directory we want to share. So let's see an example. First of all, the IPFS daemon must be running. And now in another terminal, I create a directory, let's say my project, and inside this directory, I'll create two files. Using the echo command, I'll redirect something into a file. So this is just an IPFS example. And now I'll redirect to my project. Let's say IPFS example.txt. I also need a second file, so I'll take a screenshot, save the screenshot on the desktop and move the file to my project directory. Okay, so inside my project there are two files. Let's add this directory to IPFS. So IPFS add -r, this means recursive, so I'll add the content of this directory and all subdirectories belonging to my directory, and now the name of my directory. The files have been added. As you can see here, there are two files that have been added to IPFS and also my directory, my project directory. Now, these files are stored locally, only locally, but when somebody from the internet requests a file, of course using its hash, that file will be copied to another IPFS gateway and also stored there. So let's see how can we get this text file. So we need xhash, so copy, and now using a browser, let's use the main IPFS.io gateway, IPFS.io/IPFS, and now I'll paste the hash of my file. So the IPFS gateway requested and received the content of my file. Now, if I shut down the daemon, so I'll press Ctrl+C, there is no IPFS daemon that's running on my local machine, the file can still be accessed. The file is there because it has been copied to another gateway, and no one can force that gateway to delete or to garbage collect my file. So if I open another browser, let's say a Windows browser, I can also access the IPFS file from here. Okay, the file is there. Now I want to show you something else. I shut down the IPFS daemon. What happens if someone wants to access this file, the screenshot, the PNG file? My file has been saved only locally and no one has requested this file. What does it mean? It means that this file can't be accessed from the outside because it's only saved locally and my IPFS daemon has been shut down. So for example, if I copy xhash and try to access the file from here, IPFS.io/IPFS, and now I'll paste the hash, the file is not there. I can't access the file because the file hasn't been copied to this gateway, to IPFS.io gateway. Okay, let's see other commands. So if we want to pin content from other nodes, so not to be garbage collected, we use the IPFS pin add command. So like in this example. Then if we want to list the content of a directory, we use IPFS ls and then the directory hash. So for example, my project directory has this hash. So copy, and here IPFS ls and then the hash. And it listed the content of that directory. If we want to access an IPFS file or directory locally using HTTPS, we can use the HTTP protocol and port 8080. So let's see this directory, so the project directory. I'll copy its hash, and now here I'll open a new tab, HTTP localhost and port 8080/IPFS, and now I'll paste the hash of my directory. And this is my directory in IPFS, accessed locally. And there is also a web user interface that can be accessed using this port, so 5001. Localhost port 5001/web user interface, UI. And this is the IPFS user interface. So we can see the peer ID. This is the hash that uniquely identifies our peer, our location. So we are from Romania and Earth. This is an interplanetary file system. This is the public key, our public key. The private key is secret. Okay, our network addresses we are listened on. Here we can see the connections. One more thing I want to tell you is that sometimes it's difficult to use hashes to access files. So how can I remember this hash? This is very complicated. But IPFS offers a system like DNS named IPNS. Every file can be found by human readable names using a decentralized naming system called IPNS. You can read more about IPFS and IPNS in the IPFS white paper. You'll find a link to the IPFS white paper as a resource of this lecture.